In the quiet village of Elderglen, tucked between the hills and the thick misty woods, lived the Blackthorn family, a name spoken only in whispers. The villagers feared them, not because they had ever harmed anyone openly, but because strange things always seemed to happen when a Blackthorn was near. Fires that started with no spark, shadows that moved when no one stood near, a sudden illness that would strike someone days after crossing one of them. The Blackthorns had lived in the manor at the edge of the woods for generations. They kept to themselves. The current generation consisted of three: Evelyn, the widowed mother, Lucian, her quiet teenage son, and little Mira, a child no older than 7, with eyes too ancient for her age. What the villagers didn't know was this: the Blackthorns were cursed, or blessed, depending on who told the story. Long ago, their ancestor made a pact with a forgotten spirit of the forest, trading their bloodline's peace for power. Since then, each generation was born with dark abilities. The price? They could never truly love, or they would lose control of their powers. Lucian had begun to feel the weight of that curse. He could hear thoughts when he didn't want to. He could see shadows crawling behind people, revealing their darkest fears and desires. But worse, he had started caring for a girl in the village, Elena, the baker's daughter. And the more he cared, the harder it became to keep the darkness inside. One rainy night, Elena followed Lucian into the forest. He had warned her never to do that, but she was curious, and worse, she was brave. She found him standing in front of an ancient stone, chanting words in a forgotten tongue, his eyes black as pitch. The wind howled and the trees bowed as if listening. "Lucien!" she shouted. He turned, startled, and that was when it happened. The darkness inside him burst forth, lashing out in a wave of shadow and wind. Elena screamed and was thrown backward, hitting the base of a tree. When Lucian reached her, she was unconscious but alive. Terrified of what he might do next, he ran back home, drenched and trembling. Evelyn knew what had happened without needing to be told. "You love her," she said quietly, her voice filled with sorrow. "I didn't mean to. I can't stop it." "You must leave," she whispered, placing her hand on his cheek. "Before you destroy everything." That night, Lucian left Elderglen. No one saw him again. But strange things still happen in the forest. Lights flickering in the trees, whispers riding the wind, and the feeling that something ancient and powerful still watches from the shadows. The Blackthorn family still remains in the manor, Evelyn and little Mira, who now talks to the shadows as if they were friends. And so the legacy continues. A family with dark powers, cursed by love, feared by all. And yet somehow, more human than anyone dares to admit.